This shop's one of a kind. We never know what might turn up. Some days, it could be a grand old classic. Other days, maybe a muscle car, even a military vehicle. Some jobs are quick fixes. Others are full-blown restorations. And on occasion, million-dollar recreations. My only rule, perfection. And that's the kind of thing that we do at the Guild Garage. Everybody on the floor is really busy. I'm doing my best to oversee everything, and Larry's on the way in to look at his newest and most prized so far possession.
Well, that's it, baby.
Yeah, I've never seen you as enamored with the car as
I
you
know,
are with
I
this
know.
one. This is Larry's 1937 812 Cord, and it's an Art Deco masterpiece. It's absolutely no wonder that it's Larry's favorite.
I'm nuts over this car, and you know that.
I mean, it's the greatest classic American Art Deco design car of all time. I've always loved the headlights, but I mean, you got to think that you had to pull over to do this, especially if you wanted them both up.
Sides, eh?
Yeah.
Is this the real one that came out of the factory? It's not a reproduction or anything.
Well, so
64 were made.
You can tell there's a quality to it because look at the way it stood up. I know it hasn't had a rough life.
No.
But still, they can fall apart just sitting in a garage. The Cord was manufactured by the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company, and it was one of the last cars that they were building. In 1935, they were already struggling to keep their head above water. The Depression had really kicked in by that time, and by 1937, well, they were gone forever. As good as this car looks, it's got transmission problems, so Larry's bringing it in to see if we can fix her up for him. Cords were front-wheel drive cars, and that was very unusual in that period. So basically, the transmission is part of a transaxle right at the very front of the car. Problem was, it was pretty innovative and they hadn't gotten it all quite down properly, so they were prone to overheating and wearing themselves out prematurely.
You understand the transmissions in these cars in there. Yeah. And like when I took the car out, I mean, the car hadn't run that long. We took it for our test drive out and we were doing over 75 miles an hour in it. Handled like a dream. Yeah. Bring it back and it won't go into gear.
It's like the transmissions are brilliant. I mean, a front-wheel drive car with an electric shifter and the whole bit, and that's brilliant for the period.
For 1937?
But it didn't work that well because they didn't have the money to finish up all the research. Yep. You're sort of saddled with this incredible piece of prototypical design.
I know you're not going to let me down.
Yeah.
You can't let me down. No, you can't. No, you can't.
I have in the past, and I can
know
in the future.
You've done it in the past. This time you've got to change. I know you'll do a good job.
30s cars are all the rage here this week, and this beautiful 37 Cabriolet has just rolled in for a once-over. So I'm going to get Larry Hughes on it, because Larry loves this stuff.
Yeah, nice day for a ride in a convertible. Man, this is one of my favorite cars of all time. I give up my hot rods to have this car for a few years.
Let's just I'll get on the brakes here and see how it feels. Oh, that's not bad at all. Not bad.
The car runs great. Just one issue, the lights isn't working.
I'm speeding.
Yeah. She's a sweetie, yeah.
The 47 Dodge truck came in. He basically wants a conversion done on the front brakes on this vehicle from drum brakes to new style disc brakes. Plan is strip the old 47 Dodge front end down, get rid of all the old pieces here. There. There's the old drum. This is the old school stuff. You had to turn this lever after so many miles to adjust your brakes. I mean, after 500 miles or something like that, these things here would be out of adjustment. You'd hit the brakes, the car would pull one way or the other way, or it wouldn't stop very good. This is all the new style. All the cars today have this new style stuff on. So the rotor goes on, the caliper slips over, and the mounting bracket that I'm gonna make will hold it. The biggest problem here is they don't make a conversion kit for this particular vehicle. You can't buy this piece, so it'll have to be fabricated by me. Here, that's gonna be my caliper bracket, so I've cut that to the same size as the hub assembly here. So I've cut another piece here to a store-bought caliper that I had brought in. So this is basically the caliper width here that I've traced out from that. So it's gonna be on here, something like that. And that's gonna be my caliper mounting bracket that I'm gonna make out of 3/8 plate steel. So now I'm just gonna do my scribe on this 3/8 plate for my caliper. And that's it. Now my next step is just take this to the plasma cutter and cut it all out.
So Dave's asked me to look at Larry's 37 cord. He's complaining it's falling out of first and reverse, so we're gonna open it up and have a look. So it's electronically controlled standard transmission. So the wiring harness would come up to here. The fluid goes back to this little box and controls the vacuum chamber. And the vacuum chamber actually sits in, it's bolted in here. And when you switch the little gear shift electronically, it sends the message, tells this, this box to send the vacuum, and moves this. This is your shifter. This would move this, and that would select your gears. You still have a clutch, but this would select your gears. So instead of having to move a big gear shift column on the floor, you just have this little pencil, so to speak, box that you select your gears in. So I've got to figure out what's making this transmission fall out of first and reverse. Dropped the fluid out of the transmission and immediately found a piece of a bearing race broken off, stuck to the drain plug. Bearing race is broken, so that's an easy fix, but the gear's not meshing properly. We're gonna come up with a fix for that, thicker washer to help the gears mesh more equally. So we went ahead and pulled the cover off, and now we found that, of course, the first and reversed gear clusters are all worn off on the edges, so that's why it's falling out of first and reverse, because the gears are worn out. You know, it's gonna be an 80-year-old car, things wear out. So we're gonna find some new gears and reassemble it and put it back in and hope for the best.
We picked up Larry's 812 cord, and we've got to take a real good look at the transmission. Hopefully Brad's gonna have some good news for me. So how's that going?
Well, I drained the fluid and found a broken piece of the front bearing race, so it's not good.
A weakness in Cord's front-wheel drive system was quite simply the bearings. They weren't properly serviced by oil. They would break up. When they broke up, they'd go through the gears, and, well, you had a mess.
Oh, yeah, okay, so that sort of accounts for everything there, but how are the gears?
Well, here's the first one here, and then they're both pretty worn, so I can see how they would tend to fall out.
We've had the opportunity to do a lot of cords over the years, and I've got lots of spare parts. Fortunately, I've got an engine and transmission combination just upstairs, so maybe there'll be some parts in there we can use for Larry's.
We have that other engine tranny combination. We should pop it open and see if we can find some salvageable parts out of it to use for this one.
Yeah, if we can put a gear set that's in a bit better shape.
The whole engine's got to come out simply because the whole tranny's got to come out.
Yeah, you can't just...
All right. Well, he should be in, hopefully today, tomorrow. I love giving him bad news. It's really fun.
Oh, no, don't tell me that, guy. Well, we'll make it right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? He'll be driving it in no time. So unfortunately, Brad's got to dismantle the entire Cord engine. That's a bit of a shame. But we've got a couple of new guys working on a 67 Mustang. They came in for a frame-on restoration. I'm looking forward to seeing how well they do.
It's a 67 Mustang Fastback. And right now I'm trying to get this piece to fit the quarter panel so we don't have to put much of an aftermarket patch in it. The more I can straighten, the better we can make this fit, then the less that I'll have to put in as far as aftermarket goes. Looks pretty good. I'll have to go try it with the quarter and see how it fits. The issue with aftermarket parts is usually the body lines don't line up right, or the edges aren't as sharp as the original ones. So by straightening this piece, if I can get this piece straightened on the edge, it should fit to the original quarter a lot better. Looks good. Got the right shape to it.
So I notice you've got the aftermarket parts on, right? What was wrong with the originals?
The bottom of the fender was rotted out.
Oh, this is them?
Yep. And the brace for the back was bad in them, so.
How's the fit been? I mean,
There was a few of the lines we had to mess around with it a bit to get them to line up.
yeah, this isn't bad.
No.
I mean, this is better than Ford ever did it. last major one would be, I see this hood fit, the center is just not the same crown as the rest of the car.
Yeah, Mel and I are gonna see if we can get that up.
Well, my suggestion on that is a nicely rounded block of wood right in the center and close the hood very gently on it until it lifts it up enough. Because that way you get the bar and everything sort of at the same time.
Up, yeah.
Even in this high-tech world, sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Jeez, don't step on the man's car.
I know, eh?
Do you harbor any resentment with Mel?
No, none whatsoever. Yeah, on there now.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly where it should be. Pretty much a perfect fit. Good. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, Dave. Thanks.
It's a 1947 Dodge pickup. I'm going to do the conversion to put disc brakes on the front opposed to drum. The big challenge with building this system is the caliper mounting bracket. Like it's got to be spot on. Next step is to take this to the plasma cutter and cut it out in 3/8 plate steel. Plasma's basically high voltage and air that cuts through the metal. Plasma is very quick. These things are just incredible. It'll cut through 1/2-inch plate steel. I'll always leave myself like a 1/4 or 1/8 inch all the way around. That way I know I haven't cut it too small. If I cut this thing off a tiny bit, well, it's basically scrap. I'll have to start all over. All right, one down, one to go.
So on Larry's 37 cord, he was having a problem with it not shifting in the first and reverse. So we have another engine and transmission combo from a long ago project. So I'm gonna inspect it and see if we can salvage some parts from that transmission. The transmission looks to be the same. I'm sure the insides are. If I can salvage parts from this tranny, it's gonna save me a lot of time. Ordering them and waiting for them to arrive. I can just simply disassemble this one, change the gears over and go. Ooh, not good. The first thing you see is 3 teeth broken off a gear. Oh, 4 teeth. Another tooth there. It's actually in worse shape than the one we have. So what this means is I'll just have to source out the gears we need, the parts we need. You can't use anything from this. We may be able to salvage a couple of the shafts once we get ours apart a little further and actually investigate it. So I'll have to let Dave know that we can't use any of the bits out of this one, and we'll have to order up some new parts.
I got Larry taking this 37 Ford Cabriolet out for a test drive just to make sure it's all okay. Owner wants to take to a few shows, and, well, you know, Larry gets back, none of the lights are working.
This is the switch here on the steering wheel, and there's no lights or nothing anywhere. No headlights in the front. No lights back here, so I'm going to have to check that out. Oh, there's the power side right there. My dad always taught me, when you have a problem with an automobile, go for the obvious first. Don't start ripping everything apart. Do the basics, check the basics, do the obvious first, and go from there. Okay, I've got power on the battery side of the fuse. Let's see if she's going through the fuse. Nope. Aha. I think we found our problem. I got power coming to the one side of the fuse, nothing coming out of the other that feeds the light system. Okay, here we go. Oh man, look at that. Corrosion right inside the fuse. Oh, thank God I'm a little guy. Whew, what a spot. Look at this. The fuse has lost its seal on the end, and it's got corrosion in there, lost its contact. So what I'm going to do is get a new fuse and put it in there and see if everything works.
There's no aftermarket kits for this truck, so we actually have to fabricate the mounting brackets to put caliper-style brakes on it.
From the plasma cutter, I'll take it over to the mill, and I'll mill it down perfectly flat edges. And I've got to bring it down. There's an actual scribe line on this. I'll mill it down with this thing to bring it right down to that line, and that's the size that I need to make this all fit into this vehicle. In the mill, it's very precision, like to 100,000th of an inch. You can grind off, very, very minimal amounts of metal very easily. It's quite a piece of machinery. I mean, milling's a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Brad's working on Larry's cord, and my transmission's no good. Now he's gone through my spare transmission, there's nothing salvageable. We have a feeling we better look under the hood as well. So you almost got her stripped down, eh?
Yeah, just got the one head off on that side, so.
Yeah. No, it's grubby, but it's not in bad shape.
Casting's okay?
Yeah, it's a little scummy from erosion sitting.
Yeah. Other than that, well, not too bad. I mean,
Oh,
what? What? Is it eroded?
looks like one cylinder's got a popcorn maker in it.
This cylinder and piston damage, well, it means we got to rebuild the whole engine. Larry's not going to be very happy about this.
Yeah, look at
Well-
that. It fits right in that little spot.
It's absolutely the culprit, isn't it?
That's amazing.
I couldn't even hear that with it running.
Nah, you wouldn't. It's just in there just destroying things. I mean, look at how hard that is. It's not, I mean, that's not been squashed or banged or, it's just,
Couldn't work its way out the valve, could it?
No.
It had to stay in there and popping around. Wow.
Got no choice now, so the engine's going to come out.
News
And,
keeps getting worse.
Okay, he'll be here in half an hour.
Okay, great.
This should be fun.
Now that I've finished building my caliper mounting bracket, I'll have to drill my holes, tap them, and then install it and make sure everything's all in line and it'll work. You know, I know I'll make it work. I just gotta drill my 2 holes for my caliper to seat. When you're drilling the holes for the mounting of the plate onto the hub assembly, you don't want to miss. I mean, you want to have them to be exact because that plate has to be nice and tight on that hub assembly. So you got to do your math there. You just got to make sure that everything's square and everything's, you know, cut properly and drilled properly. It goes like that. The caliper will slide in, and these 2 bolts will come from the back to hold the caliper on. Now I've just got to tap these holes for these threads here, and that way it'll be completed. The biggest thing when you're tapping a hole, but you just want to make sure you're 90-degree angle to the plate, and then when you look at it here, you want to make sure that you're going in not on an angle, you're coming in straight at it. And the last thing you want to do is break that tap inside there. And you can feel it when you're going in, like a quarter turn. You know, it's perfect. The final fit. Go like that. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a solid unit now. This truck, say, will stop better than it's ever stopped, and it's from the day it came off the factory floor.
The 37 Cabriolet, when Larry brought it back, lights weren't functioning. Thankfully, it's a really easy fix. It blew a fuse.
Dun, 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 dun. I should have a fuse in here. Turn them on. Ah, there it is, right there. Okay. Okay, I got this new fuse out of my toolbox, which is the one I need. As you can see, compared to the old one, it's nice and clear, no corrosion. So I'm going to replace this back in the fuse holder in the vehicle and see if we have lights. Fuse in here. Okay, here we go. Yay! Ah, there we go. We have tail lights. We have everything.
So Larry brought me his cord, his favorite car, to fix the transmission, and now we found a bunch of other things. Matter of fact, we've got to do a rebuild on the entire engine and transmission. I can hardly wait to tell him. What the problems with it popping out of gear, once it is in gear, are down in here. These are worn. You see, though, it's
That's what I'm just looking here, yeah.
It never looks like much, but when you're working under the pressures that these things are working on. Other than that, it's in pretty good shape, so we don't have to replace a lot of it. but we have to pull it all out anyway to get that bearing.
To get that bearing in
Yeah.
there. Yeah, makes sense.
So
makes sense.
anyway, this morning when Brad pulled this head off,
Yeah.
we discovered this.
Gee, look at the piston. Holy moly.
I mean, look at that. It's now what happened
Wow.
was a small chunk of hardened steel came down from above. It landed in here because this is the bottom of the cylinder. It just
Right.
stayed down here.
Well, wouldn't you have thought that it would have worn down more than that? I mean, look at that. Look at
No,
that.
this is pretty recent. I mean,
Oh, it's recent, is
yeah,
it? Oh,
this
yeah.
is a few hundred strikes.
Okay.
While you're doing 2,000 to 3,000 RPM, right?
Yeah.
Revolution per minute. So,
that could
could
be-
have all happened in 10 seconds.
Okay, listen. Please tell me this isn't going to take
No,
forever.
it'll only take about 4 or 5 years.
We hope that I'm going to see this car out in spring.
How old are you now?
Yeah, we don't even talk about that because we want it before I'm dead. Well, I'm a little bit disappointed in the fact that I won't be driving it and having all the fun that I thought of right away. But what else am I going to do? It has to be done. I've got it to the best shop, so why not have it done properly, right? He might drive me crazy, but he won't let me down.